It started the way so many stories do, with boredom. Ethan was a university student with too much free time on his hands and a mean streak when it came to the internet. He wasn't a bad guy, not really. At least that's what he told himself. But when he was sitting alone at 2 in the morning, scrolling through forums and chat rooms, he loved the rush of getting under someone's skin. It was harmless fun, he thought. Words on a screen. Nothing more. One night, he found himself in an obscure online forum that looked like it hadn't been updated in years. The design was outdated, gray background, pixelated avatars, usernames written in neon colors. It was the kind of place that should have been dead long ago, yet dozens of people were online. The forum was called The Abyss, and its tagline read, "What you type here follows you everywhere." That was weird, but Ethan didn't think much of it. He made an account under the name Jester93 and started scrolling through the threads. Most of them were about urban legends, horror stories, or conspiracy theories. Perfect playground for someone like him. He jumped into a few conversations, mocking people for believing in ghosts, ridiculing others for sharing their personal fears. It was in one of these threads that he first saw the username Shade. The post was simple. Do you believe the walls between us are real? Or are they thin enough to pass through if you know how? The replies were the usual mix of sarcasm and seriousness. Someone joked about magic mushrooms. Another said Shade was talking nonsense. Ethan, with his usual arrogance, decided to strike. Dude, shut up. You sound like a 14-year-old goth kid who just discovered Hot Topic. The only thing thin around here is your brain. He sat back, grinning at his own wit. He expected others to laugh, maybe even pile on. But instead, Shade replied almost instantly. "Careful, Jester. Words have weight. Heavier than you think," Ethan laughed. "What are you gonna do? Hack me? Ooh, I'm so scared." "I don't need to hack you," Shade wrote. "I can already see you." Ethan paused. He told himself it was just a bluff. Everyone says creepy things online. But something about the phrasing made the hairs rise on the back of his neck. Still, he refused to back down. "Yeah, sure you can. I'm waving right now. Do you see me?" Ha 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 ha. No response came. Ethan refreshed the page. Shade's username was gone. The next day, Ethan shrugged the whole thing off. Online trolls. Whatever. But that evening, when he came back from class, he noticed something strange. On his dorm room desk, his computer screen was still on. He was sure he had turned it off that morning. The forum was open. His account was logged in. And there, in the message inbox, sat a new message. From Shade Subject. Nice posters. Message. The one with the band, and the one with the red-haired actress. Do they watch you when you sleep? Ethan froze. The description was accurate. On the wall above his bed were 2 posters, one of his favorite rock band, and another of an actress he had a crush on. No one outside his room should know that. He slammed his laptop shut, heart racing. "It's just a guess," he muttered. "Lucky guess." But that night, as he lay in bed staring at those posters, he couldn't shake the feeling that someone else was watching. Days passed. Ethan tried to avoid the abyss, but his curiosity got the better of him. He logged back in one night, telling himself he was just going to delete his account. But as soon as he entered, a notification popped up. Another message. From Shade Subject. You shouldn't have come back. Message. I've already taken 3 steps closer. Can you hear me breathing yet? Ethan's stomach dropped. He typed back angrily, "Listen, freak, stop messing with me." "I'll report you to the mods," Shade replied instantly. "There are no mods here. Only me." "And you," Ethan's hands trembled. He slammed the laptop shut again, his skin clammy with sweat. But that night, as he lay awake, he swore he heard faint footsteps outside his dorm room. When he checked the peephole, the hallway was empty. The torment escalated over the following week. Ethan would find slips of paper under his door with messages scrawled in black ink. Step 4. Step 5. Almost there. He asked his dorm mates if they'd seen anyone hanging around. Nobody had. Campus security found nothing. His friends started joking that he had a stalker, but Ethan couldn't laugh. One morning, he woke to find his desk chair pulled close to his bed, as if someone had sat there watching him sleep. On the chair was another note. "I like when your eyes move under your eyelids. Dreamin' is cute." That was the moment Ethan snapped. He skipped classes, locked himself in his room, and tried to dig up anything about Shade. He scoured the abyss for old posts, but the account seemed to appear and disappear at random. Other users claimed they'd never seen him. It was like Shade existed only for Ethan. One rainy night, Ethan sat hunched at his desk, staring at his laptop screen. His phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. Step 9. His blood ran cold. He hadn't given his number to anyone recently. He typed back with shaking fingers, "Who are you?" The reply came instantly. "Look outside." Slowly, Ethan turned toward his window. Rain streaked the glass, and for a moment he saw nothing. Then a flash of lightning illuminated the world, and in that split second, a pale face stared back at him from the other side of the glass. Ethan screamed, stumbling backward. He grabbed the nearest object, a lamp, and hurled it at the window. The glass shattered, but when he looked again, the figure was gone. Campus security searched the grounds but found nothing. They told Ethan it was probably a prank, or his imagination. But Ethan knew. Shade was real, and he was coming. Ethan couldn't sleep anymore. He barricaded his door at night, carried a pocket knife everywhere, and jumped at every sound. His friends noticed his paranoia but couldn't help. One night, unable to bear it, Ethan returned to the abyss and typed a final message into the forum. "I'm done. Leave me alone. Please." For a long moment there was no reply. Then at last, Shade appeared. "You invited me, Jester. Every insult was an open door. Every laugh was a welcome mat. You can't uninvite me now." Ethan typed furiously, "What do you want?" The reply chilled him to his core. "I want to finish counting." The lights in his room flickered. His laptop screen went black. And then, faintly, behind him, he heard a whisper. Step 10. Ethan spun around. The barricade he had placed against the door was gone, moved aside without a sound. The door stood open, and in the darkness of the hallway, something moved. Ethan ran. He bolted out of his dorm, down the hall and into the rain-soaked night. His bare feet slapped against the pavement as he sprinted across campus. Behind him, he swore he heard footsteps, steady and unhurried. He ducked into the library, panting, trying to hide among the rows of books. For a few minutes, there was only silence. He began to think maybe he'd escaped. Then, on the table before him, he noticed a book lying open. It hadn't been there before. Across the page, in black ink, were 2 words, "Final Step." A shadow fell across him. Slowly, trembling, Ethan looked up. There, at the end of the row, stood a figure. Too tall, its head tilted at an unnatural angle, its face hidden in the shadows. It whispered one last time. Step 11. The library lights went out, and Ethan was never seen again. Weeks later, campus police cleared out Ethan's dorm room. His belongings remained: posters, clothes, books. But his laptop sat on the desk, open to the abyss. On the screen was a new thread, posted under Ethan's account, Jester, 93. Do you believe the walls between us are real, or are they thin enough to pass through if you know how? And beneath it, a reply from a new username. Shade. Careful. Words have weight.